Welcome to the biggest ever TNT special as we welcome our first international guest who has just come off his fourth UK tour competing for Wrestle Island, Lancashire Wrestling Federation, Title Championship Wrestling, PCW, TNT Extreme Wrestling, and more. He is the biggest wrestler ever, Franco Varga. Thank you for joining us, Franco.
That was spot on. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. We are, of course, TNT. It's a Great British Wrestling podcast for all Great British Wrestling. As featured on bodyslam.net, brought to you by Power4 TV. I am your host, the Great British Taku, Mr. Andrew Moore, and D2 Most, and joined as always by the co-host, Big Daddy Dan, Mr. Daniel Allen, just Dan for short.
I don't think it can be Big Daddy Dan today. I think just Dan will definitely have to do today because we are in the presence of the big man himself.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Excellent. Because we got the pleasure of meeting you in person just the other week, whilst we were at the LWF, the Lancashire Wrestling Federation, for that Lancashire Riot, which we did some live podding from. You joined us for a quick 2 minutes on that. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no problem.
So what is it about the UK? Your fourth tour? You keep coming back?
Yeah, no, I originally, I was brought over by PCW for the Road to Glory series that they do, the televised ones and all that. And I just every year have added a couple of promotions, and then, the whole COVID thing. And I actually got to go right after COVID. I got 2 quick trips in. I was floored to be invited for the 10-year anniversary of PCW. And in that company that helped me get my British start, I didn't know I meant so much to those fans that they requested me to be there as part of the 10-year anniversary. So I was honored. I did everything I could to get over, and I was actually the only American that got over because a lot of the restrictions were still, I think our country was still considered amber, So I stayed home for 10 days prior. I did everything. I just followed everything to a T, and I was the only one that got to go. So it was actually pretty sweet. That's how much I love the fans over there. I took 10 days of doing nothing, stayed in the house for 10 days so I can make sure I can make that show.
Well, we can see why the fans took to you, because when you wrestled at the LWF, it was your debut for them, and just an instant connection when you come out and you just draw the audience in, because that whole biggest wrestler ever, it's not just about your size, it is about this whole aura that you seem to have around you as well.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like, I think it's funny so the power of the internet is, why like guys like me can have this career on the independents without having to be on TV, so it's funny to meet people and from the internet that follow me from like England or something, for this example, especially the LWF. They come up to you afterwards and say, wow, you're a lot bigger in person. So I don't know if that's a compliment or what, but it's cool to, as soon as you come out the curtain, half the room knows who you are, and hopefully the whole room knows who you are when you're done. But yeah, no, I credit that to the internet, and just kind of those instant cheers. Just they're looking me up where I already know who I am, so it's actually pretty cool.
And you were looking them up. You were paying attention to what was going on the card, and you were giving them something they hadn't had, and you read that crowd beautifully.
Yeah, no, I think, I was second to last, and I actually wanted to, you guys were in that picture. I actually wanted to watch the main event, all the Lancashire Riot with all the women wrestlers, because it was just like unheard of, British wrestling. They had like 14 female wrestlers, and there's probably only like maybe 20, 25 total in the country. So I was just like, that's a heck of an accomplishment. So I wanted to watch that. I wanted to see how it went down. But it was going to be tough, going so late in the card. They were probably thinking I was going to come out pretty early and all that. But for me to ruin Nate Reese's night kind of made my night. So, yeah.
And was that due to the friendship you made with Bob Costin?
Yeah, Bob's a cool guy, but no, I just kind of wanted to come out and pick my shot, and yeah, I felt like that was the perfect time to come out.
Okay, so other than the wrestling and obviously the weather, which is miserable all the time, what are some of the other things that you've really enjoyed about being in the UK?
This time around, I actually got invited to a lot of different restaurants and a little bit of the red carpet. I posted a picture. It was reserved for the biggest wrestler ever. It was really cool to get that little red carpet treatment. But I got to sample a lot of the different foods. I got to go try Quick Recovery Unit, which is another place that reached out to me and said, "Hey, we know that you like cryotherapy. We're in London. Come down and check us out." Oh man, I needed that so bad. So it was really nice. And go do that. So I got to do a lot of things outside of wrestling. It would make the days a little busier than I would like normally, but it was worth it. It was worth doing. And I got to see a lot of Manchester, a lot. I actually got to, I refused to be picked up. I always wanted to take the train or a bus because I wanted to see as much as possible. I wish I would have brought like maybe 2 jackets because it was cold and rainy. It was like perfect Starbucks weather every day. But I wouldn't do without it. I just, next time I'll be back in August and I'm still going to bring a jacket just in case,
Where in the States are you based?
In August. Oh, sorry.
What's that?
I was saying, where in the States are you generally based as a home base?
So Philadelphia, that's where I'm at exactly right now. So it's about 60 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now. That's kind of typical for this time of year. It's we don't get too much of a winter, and when we do, we get snowed in, but we don't get too much of a winter here.
No, we get about 4 months of winter, 4 months of we get 4 months of every season that actually is to have. Now you mentioned food. We both have a bit of a bone to pick here, and that is the fact that you disliked the great big British fry-up breakfast.
Right. Yes, I've been doing these things called like it's these little food reviews, and I'm actually gonna do one with these bad boys here pretty soon.
Oh, party rings!
So I don't know. We'll see how that one goes. But no, I think the traditional British food, I was a little let down to once they told me what was in it. I was a little let down. But no, it was fun. It was fun to actually do that video and just kind of poke fun at the foods and all that. But it's all in good fun. It's all purely sarcasm. But yeah, that's what I do all over the world. I try and sample the foods and do little videos about them and have people disagree or agree. So yeah, it's all about the reaction.
What was your favorite meal while you were over this time?
I got taken to a kebab place. I know it's not British food, but I got taken to a kebab place that it was to die for. And I know it was just like a little hole in the wall kebab place, but it's called La Cantina, and their kebabs were insane. And just I don't know if you can put it up on the screen, but I'll send you the picture of it. You can put it up on the screen. It was, I don't even think I finished half of it. I actually had to take it to go, and they wanted to give me chips with it. I was like, I don't need any of that. Like this was like half a lamb. It felt like, Had
you had a drink beforehand?
No. Just because I was actually on the way to a show for this one. So I don't drink before the show. Another thing that I learned the hard way the first time I went over to the UK is after typically anywhere, especially here in the States, you have a good match, everyone, good match, everything's, great. In the UK, you guys like to bring drinks to the back for the guys if they had a good match. So every night, thankfully, I would have someone drive me to the apartment I was staying at because I just didn't want to be rude and I didn't want to like turn the drinks down. I didn't want to be that guy. So I would just sip the drinks with the guys, and I'm kind of a lightweight. So, but I'm also big on, just like food, I'm big on trying everything. So I tried a bunch of different local drinks, and I a lot of things that, I may or may, even if I don't like it, I'm gonna finish it. I think that's the, the non-rude thing to do. So that's kind of what I did, and I would leave every day pretty buzzed. So that's that British lifestyle.
So, now I noticed that you took in a few football games while you were over here. Have you become a fan of anyone?
And I know everyone's I've always been a fan of Man United and Chelsea, right? So pretty big. I know they're like, pretty big teams and all that, but I got to check out the Blackburn Rovers, and I think they're also pretty cool, like, favorite of mine. I'm going to check out more teams. I've already been, told I'm going to, but sometimes maybe by force. But I definitely checked out the Blackburn Rovers, and I thought it was nice. It was a cool experience. It was, I didn't know that in the UK they segregate the fans, the away fans or the visiting fans, away from the actual fans of the team. That's the home team. So that was actually cool to experience and see how, how different that is compared to the States. We all just kind of sit together. And it was an experience. I mean, just to see, the Rovers lost, which made that one side of the building completely louder than the other side, than the other three sides, but it was different. It was definitely an experience for sure.
I mean, what do you think of the crowds over here in the UK at things like football games? Because it crosses over into wrestling. Wrestling crowds in the UK are very much like UK football crowds. The chants, the singing. How does that all, compared to wrestling in the States?
Well, I experienced the rowdiest, the most ruthless at the game. The time doesn't stop in football. So the ball actually went out of bounds, and a little kid had a ball. maybe like a 7-year-old. And you got adults yelling obscene things at this kid to throw the ball back. The times, they're losing. They're already losing 2-0. And they're just yelling these obscene things at this 7 or 8-year-old to throw the dang ball back. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this poor kid, please throw the ball back. I just felt so bad for the kid, but I'm like, those are rowdy fans. They just, they're upset at the game, not the kid. So, but his little face, it was so funny. It was so funny to see upset.
Let's talk about some of the matchups you had here in the UK, because you had some really big opponents, some of the top names in the UK, some legends on the list, some up-and-comers. Which is the one that stands out most to you?
Well, I will say the fans were right. Myself versus Martin Kirby was a match. Probably my favorite one on the tour. And it didn't feel like, a lot of pressure. It just felt like it was one of those things where it was just another match. We're just trying to, have fun, but we're most importantly, like I always try to do anything I do for the fans, and he felt the same way. And it was just one of those like magical things. The fans really ate it up. And it was one of those that was originally scheduled for a different promotion. And when it became available, it was picked up by Top Rope in Burnley, and it was a sold out show. And man, what a match. Yeah, I think that one was good. I think, there's a kid named Bentley in the Manchester area that one was at Bolton Town Wrestling. And that one was another match that was just, and I give it a few years, he's going to be one of the names that you're talking about every day. And then of course, Shreddy at TNT was a lot of fun for the fans, and he definitely showed who the stacked Jack Daddy was, even though he cheats to do it. And then Dan Evans definitely impressed me. Another cheater of cheaters, but Dan Evans was another guy at Wrestle Island that definitely impressed me, and a lot of the fans were loving that match. And there's clips already out there that probably one of the rowdier crowds between them and LWF, where those are some really, really, really rowdy crowds. So yeah, I had a lot of fun on this tour, though. Lots of fun, lots of good opponents. Not one. I don't think I had any bad matches, really. I think everything was fun, everything was good, and as British wrestling. I think I went into the mentality of I wanted to bring something different to every show. And I wanted to kind of connect with the crowds at every show. And I think I did. So it was pretty fun.
Martin Kirby, he's a very unique wrestler. Have you seen much of his work prior to this, or did you go in blind and were kind of surprised by some of his antics?
No, yeah, I purposely, I wanted to not look it up because and I kind of want to do that. I've been doing that for a few years now where I don't want to look up the guy. I don't want to create these expectations. I want everything to be as organic as possible. So no, but I've heard the name. I mean, I heard the name a lot, especially when we first got put together, the excitement of that, but from the fans and all the engagements online. So I knew it was going to be something that they wanted to watch, but I know now why. I mean, it's all over the place. It's a little bit of comedy, definitely hard hitting stuff. And he's very lovable to those guys. So they loved Martin Kirby. So yeah, it was very fun.
I'm going to be seeing him on Saturday.
Nice. Tell him I said hello. He's definitely one of the top guys in the UK for a reason. So he definitely proved that to me.
A wonderful guy. He actually only just came out of retirement last year after he retired initially following his tour of Dragon Gate. So he's very lucky that he was available. And as you say, somebody whose comedic timing is just as good as his actual ability as a technical wrestler.
Definitely. Yeah, that definitely sums him up in a sentence right there. It's great comedic timing, and he's great in the ring. So
now, you mentioned Shreddy, TNT Ignition, Sky's the Limit. It's actually available right now on Powered 4 TV to go watch. I've seen it. It was brilliant. One of the bigger heavyweights of the UK scene, although average size for America, but one of the bigger heavyweights of the UK scene. What do you make of the heavyweight scene in the UK right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, you got some really good heavyweights like Will Cruz, he's out there as a true heavy. But yeah, I mean, Shreddy's I would still say call him a heavyweight. He definitely can hang. You got the Yeston Reeses, Eddie Ryans. I mean, you guys got some good talent out there as far as the heavyweight goes, but your heavyweights look a lot different than our heavyweights, So I think that's where, I think if I stood next to Shreddy, I think I was definitely the bigger guy in the match. But they're strong. I mean, those guys are strong. So I can pick up a guy straight from his knees. I look like I did in that match and slam him. And I'm sure a lot of those guys can do really, really great things. They just tend to cheat when they're outside. I think that's the theme with that is they tend to cheat. They tend to get desperate and cheat. So can't really blame them.
We do turn out some good villains. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Liam Regal, Doug Williams, all the best scoundrels are British.
Right.
Chick Cocky Knight, one of the original lovable villains of London. We interviewed his it was his nephew, wasn't it? Who came?
It was indeed his biographer.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. But PCW, you mentioned being with them. You've competed with them before on the Road to Glory tournament, which they are redoing this year. Are you planning to be part of that, maybe, or can we not say yet?
I can say I actually am going to miss this one. It'll be the first one I've missed in a while, but no, it's my heart goes out to PCW. I wish them all the best, but I've been over every tour for them. They're like home, they're like family, so love PCW, and they're gonna kill it. I know they're gonna crush it again with the Road to Glory. So I think it's a Canadian versus the rest of the world. I think it's Canada. Canada's pretty heavy this tour for them, and of course Brit, and a little bit of, I think maybe some USA in there, I don't know, but I know they have a lot of Canadians coming over for this Road to Glory, so it should be fun.
Vaughn Vertigo's the big name, I think, coming out of Canada over for PCW this year. It should be fantastic. He's got a match against Leighton Buzzard. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but fantastic wrestler, ICW, and more.
While you were over with PCW, I believe you were doing some training with them as well.
Yeah, I was actually the guest trainer for the month of February at PCW, and it was really interesting. You know, in the beginning, I do like a little formula where doesn't matter how new you are or how long you've been in there. I force you to do a promo and I force you to do a match, and then by the time we're done, we do another promo and a match, and we kind of see the improvements over time. There's a lot of homework. You know, a lot of the kids were like, "Homework? This is wrestling." No, it's gonna be homework. There's going to be some things so I got them in the habit of doing homework, and actually, training you don't turn it off. You know what I mean? You can train, you can really take things from movies and TV shows and all sorts of things. You can really be thinking about character improvement at 99% of the time. So that's kind of something that I got them used to. You know, a lot of those guys went from barely bumping. It's no exaggeration. I mean, they made their own post about it, but barely bumping to being able to do like a 6-minute TV style match, all in the span of a month. So I'm super proud of those guys. There's about 8 of them that were consistently there as far as students and all that go. But yeah, super proud of those guys. And I did other seminars and stuff throughout the country, but I was there every Tuesday and Thursday with those guys and doing the homework and giving them the stuff to do. And then hopefully it'll stick with them, and they'll know that the formulas work. And once they get so good that they can break the formula and redo the formula on their own, hopefully it's one of those things that sticks with them for a while.
I was lucky enough to see you talking to an aspiring wrestler at Lancashire Wrestling Federation. I'm not going to say about the conversation because it was your conversation with them, but it was just lovely seeing you give the advice to this guy who really wanted to know and was a bigger guy as well and wanted advice from how to wrestle a bigger guy. And it was just a really lovely thing to see you taking the time to talk to that up and comer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not above any of that. I think, I had a seminar earlier, and this is another great feeling, just as a coach. I had a seminar earlier in the day, and that wrestler, I think that you're mentioning, is he was in the seminar, and it was great to see just the things that I teach in the seminar being used in the match that night, and then for him to come back and actually also his opponent come back and say, "Wow, yeah, you were right. That we're gonna keep doing that." That definitely made life a lot easier. So that kind of warms my heart a bit. No, but it's I try to teach this communication and things like this, how to connect to people, how to making it more about the fans than yourself. So it was cool to see that being used that same night, and actually that light bulb actually going off, because it's one thing that the light bulb kind of flickers during the seminar, but for it to be used during the match and really see like it really goes off, they come running up to you like, "Oh my God, you're so right, like can I," so it was one of those things. I mean, there's more questions after, once they see that, "Oh, this works, can I ask you more questions about it?" But I was that guy once too, so that's kind of why I just smile and answer all the questions I can about it while I'm there.
Okay, so we like to ask most of our guests a question about young competitors who they think is coming up. So let's see, maybe 2 names that really impressed you throughout your tour, young guys that you might have seen wrestle more than once, and somebody who, just a couple of people who you thought might be tipped for stardom in the UK.
Yeah, so I think Dan Evans is going to be a name in the UK for sure. I think Bentley's going to be a name in the UK for sure. There's a kid, Axel Strife, not your traditional wrestler, but he's going to be one of those guys you just love to hate, kind of like your Kevin Owens kind of guy. And then I don't want to say her name incorrectly, but I think it's Tonga.
Very
very impressive already for someone who's already just been doing this a few. And then of course you got Lana Austin's going to break through that whatever ceiling that there is. She's going to be a megastar if she's not already. And I think that's kind of my list as far as the guys that I saw that really have like that 5 to 10 year potential. Yeah, I mean they're gonna be huge.
Excellent. All right, so let's play a little bit of Let's Get to Know Franco a little bit. So how long have you been competing altogether?
So in a few days it'll be 10 years. Ooh.
And what made you first start out?
So I went to this tryout, and it really wasn't even my idea. I actually went with a friend of mine who actually got cut from the tryout, and I got picked, and it was a really weird car ride back home. But that once I took those bumps, and I fell in love with wrestling through the process of becoming a wrestler. So I was a fan of the Attitude Era and stuff, but I, like a lot of people, I stopped watching when all those guys left, and it just became boring, so I stopped watching. But through the process of becoming a wrestler and the physicality and the actual, like, all that, I fell in love with it, and I just couldn't let it go. So yeah, 10 years of that. Oof, my back.
Your knees.
Yeah, my knee. Oh man, did you see that meme? Here's the thing about me. I get memed from time to time, and I get really upset. And my wife tells me to not be upset about it, to kind of take it with, like a grain of salt. I should be proud about it, but I just can't. So those things really bother me a little bit. But I know she's probably making a scrapbook of all the memes that I've been, memed, I guess, if that's the correct way to say that. But yeah, I don't know. Now when I see memes of other things and all that, I try to not laugh about them, because I know how I feel when I get memes. So.
Who's your biggest influence as a wrestler?
Oh boy, I would say that's a tie between Big Van Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow. Those are my two, honorable mention. Razor Ramon, not the Scott Hall, but the actual Razor Ramon character. Because for someone to play that character so well, it was one of those things that, like, I know people say gold dust a lot, but there was a lot of, like, hidden things in that character. But the actual Razor Ramon, the accent, the all that, it was just purely an acting job on his part. Plus he had to wrestle. So yeah, those are my three.
Love Vader.
Yeah, he's I actually got to ride in the car with the British legend Tony Sinclair, and we spoke about Vader because he was one of the people who helped train Vader from the ground up in Germany. And he was just after he watched my match, and for him to say, yeah, you remind me a lot of him, and I could see the influence, it was definitely meant a lot to me. So yeah, it was one of those things where I was just like, man, that's as close as it gets.
Now, we ask about a Mount Rushton, our version of a Mount Rushmore, so we'd like to have it as there should be more personal connection. It shouldn't just be who you think the four biggest wrestlers in the world are, but on a personal level, who you think have done so much for the business and yourself, who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
So my personal Mount Rushmore, no secret, Ron Simmons and I are very close. So I have to put Ron Simmons on there. He's, I was at like year number 6 touring in Canada. Things weren't, so great. And I was kind of just like, okay, if I stop now, I can, and I won't have bad back and back knees. And then, if I stop now, I can start something else, maybe acting, and I'll be okay at that. And just getting close with him. And I mean, it's one of those things where we talk almost every other week, but just getting close with him and like really seeing what it took and really giving my chance, like he says, getting out of my own way. It really helped me like make that bend and actually start to progress in my career, and actually like started to see like I got out of that rut and I started to be, semi-main event kind of thing or special attraction guy, because I started to listen to what he had to say and really try to implement those things. So definitely Ron Simmons. Another person was Carlos Colon. Just another one. Immensely. I mean, I was sent there from tryout with Gerald Briscoe, and he pulled out his phone and said, "Hey, do you speak Spanish? You want to go to Puerto Rico?" And boom, boom, boom. Next thing I know, just super green, super underprepared, but I got given a shot when a lot of people, were in line. I got to cut the line. So it was super bizarre. And then just to, one of those tough love kind of people. So definitely, I respect the heck out of that. That's kind of how I am with a lot of people as well. It's just, it's a tough business. So, you got to develop the tough skin with tough love and all that. But, and then, let's see, number 3, definitely The Rock, just because he's inspirational on so many different levels. And I know, people try to make fun and all that he left super early, but he was just one of those people that just became bigger than wrestling, but never forgot about it, and then one of my favorite people on the planet, Bret Hart. Just the guy's probably knows more about wrestling than anyone ever is going to learn. He's changed what wrestlers look like. He changed how wrestlers work in the ring. He changed a lot of things about wrestling in his WWF run. So definitely Bret Hart. And then, I think that's, honorable mention, right? I think we're going to do honorable mention.
Yeah, one honorable mention. Let's get a Brit in there.
By far, Doug Williams. Definitely, just being around Doug and just I actually got to ride up with him from London. And just being around him, and he actually taught me how, if I was going to drive in the UK, he actually kind of taught me what all the signs meant and all that. But no, he's a super down to earth guy. Just that match with him, you just learn a lot about pacing and a lot about the crowd and a lot about the style, and just one of those people that you expect him. If anyone in the UK is going to have an ego and have the red carpet rolled out, it should be that guy. And he's not like that at all. He's just super down to earth. It's just wrestling. And funny story, we pulled up to PCW, the 10-year anniversary show, and so we come up to the Riva. We actually came in through the front, and there were some fans waiting outside, and they're like, "Oh, it's Vargas, it's Doug," and then they're like, "Can I get a picture?" So I stop and take a picture, and they're like, "Hey, Doug, can I get a picture?" And this guy, I don't think he realized what he was saying, but he goes, "I used to watch you when I was a kid." This was a 30-year-old man, So I immediately start smiling, and he just goes, "Oof, yeah, let's just do the picture." And then he just, on the way upstairs, he goes, "Hey, that's gonna be you one day. Quit smiling." So, and it's just one of those cool bonding things of just like, people just know him forever, and he has such a long story career that I hope I get that. Don't tell my wife, but I hope I can wrestle when I'm 55 and all that. So he's still crushing. It still looks like $1 million. He definitely, I know people call him the ambassador of wrestling as far as British wrestling goes. He's definitely earned that name. So yeah, Doug Williams, definitely my British wrestler of all time.
Two of the guys that you mentioned there have just had some big TV bits. Ron Simmons just had his interview on the Stone Cold podcast on the network, which is a brilliant watch. Really, really good. But all of those interviews have been. And then I'm going to make an assumption here, bearing in mind that you are in America. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I was actually in England. So I tried to stay up. I made it to, I didn't get to watch the halftime show, but I made it to like the middle of the second quarter, and I just passed out. But I had to watch it in bits and pieces the next day. But yeah, no, I was in England.
My brother stayed up to watch you over here.
Yeah, I tried. I just I couldn't do it.
Well, I've been very English. All I've watched is the halftime show, which was amazing, and The Rock's intro, and it was great to see The Rock back.
Yeah, no, he definitely. They brought him back for a wrestling promo to start the Super Bowl, which a lot of people thought was weird. And again, it's one of those things where like there's all sorts of memes about it because it was a little out of place, but I try not to laugh at those memes because I know how it is. He just tried to be cool, and it kind of turned into something else.
He's the owner of the XFL.
A collaboration between the XFL and the NFL. So it's actually pretty cool to see him like kind of spearheading that. But the internet is brutal. They're harsh. It's harsh to be an entertainer now and just be on the internet. Just any little thing you say, do, or wear can become a meme. It's crazy. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't grow up with social media as a kid, because Oh, I could not look back at my life like so many people can do these days.
I sure as hell wouldn't be an elected councillor, I can tell you that.
It's rough. It's rough now. It's rough.
Okay, let's talk about what have you got coming up. I think I just saw you announced for a match with TJP, NJPW Strong Superstar TJP. Who's that for?
Yeah, so that one's for first time ever events. That one is called First Time Ever Tulsa. So yeah, that it's selling pretty well, and it's going to be one of those things where all matches are truly first time ever matchups. That's kind of the theme of the show. So I mean, you got Sam Stackhouse from GCW versus Drew Hood, another name that you're going to hear in a few years pretty consistently. You got Leon Ruff from NXT, and he's going up against Jake Hollister, another name that you're going to hear for a long time. Actually, I was on tour with him this previous tour. I brought him along, and he actually just wrestled Jody Fleisch. That one's going to be on Fight TV pretty soon, first time ever UK. So yeah, no, it's going to be a super stacked show. You got Miranda Gordy, the daughter of legend, and then she's wrestling Renee Michelle, so from WWE, and so it's one of those shows. Oh my God, how could I forget? It's hosted by Raven, ECW, TNA, WWE, WWF. I mean, every letter that's ever been put together, he was part of. So, yeah, it's a super stacked show.
And I saw something with North Star Pro Wrestling. You're going to be on the same card as ROH Superstar Impact Superstar right now, PCO.
Yeah. So a lot of people are already speculating the matches. I can't say who I'm wrestling yet, but yeah. Simon Gotch, you got myself, you got PCO, and Lady Frost, Savage Gentleman. I mean, it's Renee Michelle's on that as well. But even bigger than all of us put together, the original Hulk. You can meet the original Hulk, Lou Ferrigno.
Wow.
Hosted by Lou Ferrigno. So, yeah, hopefully I don't get punched in the face by the Hulk. Hopefully I don't. But
that would be meme worthy.
But that would be meme worthy. Hopefully that's not how I find myself on TMZ, but you never know.
And of course, you are possibly coming back to the UK. Anything to announce?
A teaser, yeah. No, it's I've been like shoved in a corner and threatened, so I better come back. So yeah, I'll be back in August. It already sounds like it might even be an even longer tour. Again, don't tell my wife that, but yeah, no, it's a lot of new companies, a lot of the same companies, but yeah, it should be fun, and hopefully we get a lot more shows, and yeah, a lot more seminars. I've already been asked to do a lot more seminars and things like that, so I'm all about it. I'm all about doing, hopefully, so the first part of the seminar is already done, and then we come back and kind of see how they've progressed, and maybe do like a follow-up. That would be fun to do. But yeah, no, I think there's no secret. I've already been threatened. I'm coming back. So August is the month. So I'll be back in August. You'll start seeing the stuff around. Probably.
You must have got the please come back chant.
A few times. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones. But yeah, please come back, and this is awesome. And my classic one when I go to the UK, it's everything is a big build up, so they're super into it. When they're into it, they're into it. When they're not, they're not. So yeah, I'm glad I'm on the first part of that.
I hope you get to come to some of the southern promotions, so that it's a hell of a lot easier for me to come and see you.
Yeah, this time, I think I did CWP last tour versus Joe Redmond. That was in Southampton. I definitely want to return to Southampton. I definitely want to wrestle in London, again. And so hopefully, yeah, we'll do a bunch of back and forth. But as far as northern England, they love me. So I know it's going to be one of those a big long tour in northern England. Again, this time I'll bring 2 jackets and maybe even one of those hand warmer things. You never know. You never know anymore.
He left his jacket and his hot water bottle at the place that we were staying at up in Lancashire. So
insane.
We did have to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. It was a long day. We were darting across, because I was darting across east to west. Oh, sorry, west to east. He was going north to south.
Oh boy, yeah, no, and now I will definitely bring one, like an umbrella too. I definitely got to get an umbrella as well, just because.
Yeah. Wet, windy, rainy. That's the UK. August, we can get some nice weather, so you might want to bring at least one pair of shorts with you.
I don't trust. I don't trust. I was told the weather's gonna be decent. Yeah, I don't know. Not decent.
I don't know who told you that. February.
The weather was brutal. All the canceled trains. That was an experience to me. So.
That's just an everyday occurrence. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's unfortunately nothing new to us. Council train, you just find a way around it. Bus service.
Yeah. I had to. I felt so. It doesn't really, I grew up in New York City, and that doesn't really happen. So also lost. I had no idea what to do.
I look forward to seeing you back in the UK. I'm in the north, so I'm sure I'll see you in the north. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on here with us again, Franco. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, Dan, do you have something?
I do. I just want to say, while you were over here, your merch, you had a couple of awesome bits of merch. Your t-shirts are gorgeous. You had a poster of a comic book version of you destroying a city a la Godzilla. That was just a wicked poster. Where can people order those? And also you had some amazing Pokemon style cards.
Yeah. So you can get all that stuff at francovarga.com. That poster is actually part of a book series that's coming out, The Misadventures of Franco Varga. It's all just like the quirky stories and things that nothing too deep or anything like that, but just the funny things that have happened in my career that are story worthy. So it's just like it's like a little 10-page thing that comes out, a little bit, I guess, like a comic book or a graphic novel or something like that. But yeah, it's a series of 4 books, and that's the poster for the first book. Yeah, so
the artwork's fantastic. People need to get online and have a look at that and order it.
Thank you. Yeah, that one was inspired by my favorite character of all time as far as comic books is Thanos. I was big on Thanos for a long time, and I really didn't like how they portrayed him in the movie. I think he was actually a lot bigger in the comics, but yeah, he was the conqueror of worlds, and I try to conquer different countries, and I go there for a little bit and then leave and come back and all that. So it kind of fit a little bit, but yeah, it was just one of those cool ideas that I definitely wanted to throw a tribute to.
That's awesome. Right, you will hopefully be coming up north to see Franco in the summer in August. We thank you for joining us on this awesome special, and remember, folks, don't feed the trolls.